Michael Jordan. You know these things about him yet: nickname, Air Jordan, MJ, His Airness, Money, Black Cat, also known as Michael Jeffrey Jordan, famous as basketball player, nationality, American, birth date, February 17, 1963, age, 54 years, sun sign, Aquarius, heights, 1.98 m, born in Brooklyn, father, James R. Jordan, senior, mother, Dolores Peoples, siblings, Rosalind Jordan, James R. Jordan Jr., Larry Jordan, Dolores Jordan, spouses, partners, Juanita Vinoy, Yvette Prieto, children, Jeffrey Michael Jordan, Marcus Jordan, Jasmine Mikhail Jordan, Victoria Jordan, Isabel Jordan, city, states, provinces and districts. New Yorkers, net worth, $1.31 billion as of 2017, popularly known as His Airness, or Air Jordan. Michael Jordan has won the hearts of millions of fans with his famous dunk shot. The basketball legend showed a knack for the game from the time he was in school. Having won several awards in college for his prowess, he decided to compete in the NBA championships at the age of 21. Though not chosen on the best NBA teams, this talented player gave it his all as a member of the Chicago Bulls. This athlete proved to be a match-turner, changing the fate of his team with his talent. From a losing team, Chicago Bulls began winning most of their matches, and finally emerged victorious for 6 consecutive championships. This remarkable player is considered a treat to watch, and though he retired on 2 occasions, every time he returned, it was to mesmerize the spectators. From Chicago Bulls, he moved on to the Washington Wizards, first serving as president of operations, and then as a player. After his final retirement, he took over the Charlotte Bobcats as a part owner, with a majority hold and stakes. From then on, he has gone on to be the only billionaire athlete in history. To know more about his life and works, read on Childhood and Early Life. Michael Jeffrey Jordan was born to James and Dolores on February 17, 1963, in Brooklyn, New York. James worked in the electrical and heavy equipment industry, while Dolores was a banker. The family, consisting of 4 other children, Larry, James R.J.R., Rosalind, and Dolores, settled down later in Wilmington, North Carolina. Michael went to Wilmington's Emsley Laney High School, where he developed a love for sports like basketball, baseball and football. As a child, he was taught by his parents to be hardworking and independent. In school, he wanted to join the sophomore basketball team, but was rejected because he was too short. Instead of being depressed, he joined the school's junior basketball team. He played exceptionally well, and worked hard to increase his height. Having impressed everyone, he was chosen for the McDonald's All-American team, the best of all high school basketball teams. As a senior in high school, the young boy played for college teams like North Carolina, Virginia, Duke, and Syracuse. Finally, in 1981 he was offered a scholarship by the University of North Carolina, based on his performance in basketball. In college, he graduated in cultural geography. At the university, he was trained by the famous basketball coach Dean Smith, and Jordan was titled Freshman of the Year by the Atlantic Coast Conference. In 1982, his jump shot was a major factor in the team winning the NCAA championship against Georgetown University. Career: in 1984, he dropped out of university with the aim of joining the NBA draft. However, the young athlete was selected by Team Chicago Bulls after players Hakeem Olajuwon and Sam Bowie were chosen by Houston Rockets and Portland Trail Blazers, respectively. In the Summer Olympics held in 1984, he was part of a gold medal-winning team that included players like Sam Perkins, Steve Alford, and Patrick Ewing. Michael came back to college, and graduated from the University of North Carolina 2 years later. During 1984-87, as a part of Chicago Bulls, a team that didn't have much luck with victory, Jordan proved his mettle with an above-average PPG of 28.2. He gained immense popularity, which was resented by players of his own and rival teams alike. As a result, teammates did not pass the ball to him on several occasions, and the Bulls lost the playoffs to Milwaukee Bucks. The enthusiastic basketball player took his team through the playoffs of every season he participated in. The young athlete scored 100 blocks and 200 steals in a single season, becoming the first to do so in the history of NBA. Even though the Bulls lost the playoffs to the Boston Celtics, the former fared relatively better than before. From 1987-90, the new star of Chicago Bulls led his team through the first round of NBA playoffs in the first season, until the finals in the next two. They defeated teams like Cleveland Cavaliers, New York Knicks, Milwaukee Bucks, and Philadelphia 76ers, but in each season, Detroit Pistons led by Isaiah Thomas, beat the Bulls out of the game. In the next season of 1990-91, Jordan helped the Bulls sail through the playoffs and reach the Eastern Conference Finals. His team faced Detroit Pistons once again, but this time, it was the Chicago Bulls that emerged victorious. The winners played the NBA Finals against the Los Angeles Lakers, bagging their first victory in the history of the game. The next two seasons the Chicago Bulls defeated Blazers and Phoenix Suns, winning 3 consecutive championships. In the Summer Olympics of 1992, he was once again a member of what is known as the Dream Team, a gold medal-winning group of talented players like Magic Johnson, David Robinson, and Larry Bird. In 1993, the popular athlete was observed gambling, an allegation that he owned up to, in an interview on the 60 Minutes show. The same year, on October 6, he publicly declared his decision to retire, stating his father's murder as one of the reasons. The following year, the basketball player signed up with Chicago White Sox for a baseball contract. This was Michael's way of realizing his father's dream to see his son playing baseball. The same year, he also played for other minor baseball teams including Birmingham Barons and Scottsdale Scorpions. Without their star player in the team, the Chicago Bulls failed to perform at the NBA championships. In 1995, the famous player decided to give up baseball, and return to the basketball, playing once again for the Bulls. His return match was played against the Indiana Pacers team, which the Bulls won. His team went on to win games against Atlanta Hawks and New York Knicks. However, in the Eastern Conference semifinal, against the Orlando Magic team, the Bulls failed to capture a victory. Despite Michael's average of 31 points in each game, Orlando Magic won the season. During 1995-98, the famous athlete played 3 seasons of NBA championship, beating Seattle Supersonics and Utah Jazz in the following 2 championships. This win, along with 5 victories earlier, was an important milestone in his career as it made him the 6-time recipient of the Most Valuable Player (MVP) title at the NBA Finals. On January 13, 1999, Jordan retired once again from the game, but the following year, he came back as the president of basketball operations for Team Washington Wizards. In 2001, the athlete decided to begin playing again, and trained rigorously to get in form. He also appointed his old coach from the Chicago Bulls, Doug Collins, to train his Team Washington Wizards. The same year, on September 25, announced that he would play basketball for the Washington Wizards, declaring that he would contribute his whole salary for the victims of the 9/11 attack. In the 2001 February season though, he could not play too many games owing to a serious knee injury. In 2003, he played his final NBA All-Star match against Philadelphia 76ers, and beat Kareem Abdul-Jabbar's record of scoring the most number of points. However, after several intentional fouls against Michael, the Washington Wizards lost. The celebrated player, however, was given a standing ovation that lasted for 3 minutes. Post-retirement, the athlete was removed from his post of president with the Washington Wizards. In 2004, he founded his own motorcycle racing team, Michael Jordan Motorsports. 2 years later, he became part owner of the NBA team, Charlotte Bobcats, holding a majority stake in its operations. Awards and achievements. During 1984-88, this talented athlete has received several NBA awards, including Rookie of the Year, Defensive Player of the Year, Slam Dunk Contest Champion. He has also been titled the NBA Champion on several occasions. In 1984, as a member of the winning team in the Summer Olympics, he won the gold medal. Sports Illustrated magazine named him the Sportsman of the Year in 1991. The following year, he won another gold medal for his team's victory at the Summer Olympics. He has been ranked as one of the greatest sports personalities by several magazines, including Slam and ESPN Sports. He has also been included in the Hall of Fame by Naismith Memorial and North Carolina Museum of History. Personal life and legacy. In 1989, Jordan got married to Johnita Vinoy, but they separated after 17 years of marriage. As settlement, Johnita received $168 million from her former husband. The couple have two sons, Jeffrey and Marcus, both of who are basketball players. On April 27, 2013, the basketball player got married to model Yvette Prieto, who he had been dating for quite some time, at the Bethesda by the Sea Episcopal Church. The following year the couple had twin daughters, Victoria and Isabel. This sportsperson is so popular that he has been signed on by several big brands as their ambassador. He has endorsed top brands like McDonald's, Wheaties, Chevrolet, Nike, Hanes, Coca-Cola, and Gatorade. The celebrated sportsman has donated money for charitable organizations like Hales Franciscan High School, in Chicago, and Habitat for Humanity, Georgia. Net worth. In 2015, Michael Jordan has been estimated to have a net worth of $1 billion, setting the record of being the first billionaire athlete ever. Trivia. Carla Naffel, a former lover of this famous basketball player, alleged that the sportsperson had paid her a big sum of money to remain silent about their relationship and her pregnancy. A DNA test however proved that the accused was not the father, and the allegations were false. 15 Things You Didn't Know About Michael Jordan's Relationship with His Teammates. Michael Jordan is still regarded as the greatest NBA star of all time and arguably the greatest athlete of all time. The shooting guard brought style, toughness and overall greatness to the game to bring the sport to a new level. LeBron James' popularity and accolades gives him an outside chance to pass Jordan depending on how his career ends, but Jordan still has a strong fan base fighting off James at every chance. It shows just how much of an impact Jordan left on the fans that witnessed his iconic career. One of the more interesting things about Jordan as an athlete is how he interacted with his teammates. Both the peak years with the Chicago Bulls and his regrettable stint with the Washington Wizards opened up the stories of how he dealt with various situations. Stories have leaked on multiple occasions for the history of Jordan's relationships with his peers. Some of his teammates felt his wrath in aggressive fashion and others were tight with him. Jordan's fascinating personality is part of his magic in becoming a once-in-a-generation superstar. That extended to life for his teammates working along him. We'll take a look at 15 things you didn't know about Michael Jordan's relationship with his teammates. 15. Punched Steve Kerr in the face. Steve Kerr is currently the head coach of the Golden State Warriors with 3 years of dominance in his first 3 seasons in the role. Before Kerr was one of the best coaches in the NBA, he made his name in the NBA. Most 90s fans remember Kerr's time as a sharpshooter on the Chicago Bulls, drilling a few clutch shots thanks to Michael Jordan trusting the point guard. Things didn't always go well for Kerr when working alongside Jordan. During training camp, Jordan punched Kerr right in the face for disagreeing with him about a play. Kerr claimed he stood up to Jordan following the incident and it earned his respect. Jordan apparently wanted Kerr to show fire by not taking the hit and refusing to take it quietly. 14. Gave black eye to Will Perdue. Another teammate to feel the punch of Michael Jordan was Will Perdue. Despite being over 7 feet tall, Perdue wasn't exempt from Jordan's violence. Horace Grant revealed the story in a radio interview when asked if Jordan only picked on the smaller and weaker teammates. According to Grant, Jordan didn't care about that one bit as he went after the giant Perdue. Jordan punched Perdue in the face multiple times for running an illegal pick on him in practice. Grant confirmed that Perdue was sporting a black eye in the days following the incident. Perdue never struck back due to being professional and also because his teammates told him not to risk Jordan's health. Jordan reportedly yelled at Perdue to start setting picks like that in actual games against the other team. 13. Con Scottie Pippen out of money. One of the few passions of Michael Jordan has always been gambling. Despite being among the richest athletes alive, Jordan is known for being quite cheap. Gambling is a rare exception where he will spend big money for the thrill of it. Jordan also tried to con others out of money whenever he could get an advantage in the wagers. Scottie Pippen was the target of Jordan one season when the Chicago Bulls would have animated bull races on the Jumbotron. Jordan would watch the videos before games and trick Pippen into betting against him. Of course, Jordan already knew who was winning and Pippen had no clue. This was just one of many stories that show Jordan's cutthroat mentality for winning even when it came to silly things. 12. Not good enough to wear Jordans? Richard Hamilton is remembered for being one of the major reasons the Detroit Pistons upset the Los Angeles Lakers in the 2004 NBA Finals. Hamilton had a very impressive NBA career, but Michael Jordan didn't think he had anything special whatsoever going for him. Jordan was the partial owner and president of the Washington Wizards after he retired from the Chicago Bulls dynasty. Hamilton would see his hero Jordan join him as a teammate when MJ decided to return to the court for the Wizards. However, things were ugly between the two, with Jordan showing no respect for Hamilton. At one point, Jordan told Hamilton that he wasn't good enough to wear Jordan's trademark shoes. Jordan eventually traded away Hamilton for Jerry Stackhouse in a move that helped Hamilton become a star, and the Wizards would further fail. Score 1 for Rip here. 11. Who was his favorite teammate? His teammates. It was all business on the court, with Jordan wanting to win more than anything. Everything else was secondary, including having fun with his teammates off the court. One of the very few NBA players to become a genuine friend of Jordan was Charles Oakley. The toughness and gritty play of Oakley endeared him to Jordan. Oakley was also known as an enforcer that definitely protected Jordan on numerous occasions when the play got chippy. Jordan and Oakley remained friends to this very day, proving their bond was beyond the game of basketball. In prior interviews, Jordan went as far as to name Oakley as his overall favorite teammate to play with. 10. Sabotaged Bill Cartwright. Michael Jordan didn't react kindly to the Chicago Bulls choosing to part ways with his friend Charles Oakley. Bill Cartwright was the replacement for Oakley, and Jordan made life tough for his new teammate. Despite Cartwright having nothing to do with Oakley being gone, Jordan treated him poorly to send a statement to Bulls management. Jordan would verbally obliterate Cartwright in practice, often calling him Medical Bill as an insult about his prior injuries in the NBA. One of the lamest things Jordan did during his career was throwing intentional bad passes to Cartwright in practice, making him look bad. Cartwright developed the reputation of having bad hands thanks to this, but he did help contribute to Jordan's Bulls winning 3 rings during his tenure. 9. Hated Dennis Rodman for his wrestling. Dennis Rodman was a huge wild card for the Chicago Bulls during the final 3 seasons of Michael Jordan's tenure there. The great defense, superb rebounding and overall toughness of Rodman made him the perfect player to add to the Chicago dynasty behind Jordan and Scottie Pippen. Rodman, however, had his own unique personality that saw him make a few questionable decisions. One of the more surprising things to ever happen in the NBA was Rodman skipping practice during the NBA Finals to attend and sometimes wrestle on WCW shows. Jordan was reportedly not thrilled with his teammate ditching practice for the biggest games in the sport in favor of having fun with Hulk Hogan in a wrestling ring. Rodman never budged and apparently didn't care about the criticism of Jordan and others. 8. Instigated lifelong rivalry between B.J. Armstrong and John Paxson. B.J. Armstrong and John Paxson were both valuable contributors to the first Chicago Bulls three-peat in the early 90s. They played the same position and would compete for minutes, including the late-game situations. Michael Jordan apparently was the manipulator in creating a rivalry between the two that would take place during practice and warm-ups. Armstrong would apparently go extra hard during dribbling warm-ups and pre-game shoot-around in an attempt to make Paxson look bad. Phil Jackson apparently grew tired of it and called out Armstrong for being selfish. Both men ended up helping Chicago win. Jordan may have known what he was doing all along by pitting them against each other to improve their play. They still hated each other following retirement, as Armstrong apparently left his position in the Bulls organization due to Paxson being the GM of the team. 7. Humiliated Rodney McRae, his time. An average of 16 points and 8 rebounds during his best season so he could contribute to a team. The Chicago Bulls signed him for one season in 1992 to 1993, and Michael Jordan hated him. Jordan continued his reputation of being a jerk in practices by singling out McRae for whatever reason. A former teammate from the time frame anonymously spilled the beans that Jordan would go after McRae in practices. The word loser would frequently be used from Jordan to break down the confidence of McRae. Chicago would only play McRae about 15 minutes per game, and he chose to retire after that season at 32 years old. Jordan humiliating you would likely make you want to leave your job too. 6. Allowed Scottie Pippen in his home. Many of the stories so far are about negative relationships Michael Jordan had with his teammates. There are however a few positive ones about his respect and trust of a select handful of them. Scottie Pippen and Jordan don't appear to be best friends these days, but they clearly shared a bond as the superstar duo, winning 6 NBA championships together for the Chicago Bulls. Jordan showed the ultimate sign of respect for Pippen by inviting him to his home. This was one thing that Jordan wanted to keep private. The vast majority of teammates would never get invited to hang out with Jordan. According to MJ, he often had Pippen come over as a rare exception to work out and just chat about life together. 5. Bully teenage Kwame Brown. Kwame Brown will always be synonymous with Michael Jordan due to their time together on the Washington Wizards. Jordan's first major decision in Washington was to select Brown out of high school with the top overall pick in the 2001 NBA draft. The teenager struggled to adapt to the professional basketball world, and Jordan let him know it. According to multiple sources, Jordan would curse out Brown in practices every day, going as far as to use homophobic slurs against him that would become part of his routine. Brown turned into one of the biggest busts in NBA history. Your license has expired, or you do not have a valid license verification file. Please contact our sales support team for more information. You have to wonder if the greatest player of all time and his basketball hero breaking him down before his 19th birthday is the biggest reason for such a disappointing career. 4. 1992 Olympics from Hell. The 1992 Olympics is remembered for the dream team of incredible NBA superstars working together to win gold for the United States in basketball. One footnote from the Summer Games was Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen going out of their way to torment Tony Kukoc on the court when facing Croatia. The Chicago Bulls tried to lowball Pippen during contract negotiations when drafting the rights to the foreign league playing Kukoc. Both Jordan and Pippen held a grudge over this and took it out on Kukoc when facing off. They went after Kukoc every single play and held him to just 4 points in the blowout victory for the United States. The sad part is Kukoc didn't even negatively impact Pippen's contract, as he continued playing overseas for a few more years, allowing the Bulls to pay Scottie. Still, Jordan wanted to embarrass him to teach the Bulls a lesson. 3. Tony Kukoc eventually earned his respect. Tony Kukoc made the jump to the NBA just 1 year after the humiliation in the Olympics to join the Chicago Bulls, since they owned his rights. The addition of Kukoc would see him remain on the team for the rest of the decade. Both Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen eventually warmed up to him after seeing him on their team every day. Kukoc was one of the more important pieces to the Bulls' second three-peat in the late 90s. With an average of 13 points per game each of those seasons, Kukoc was the third scoring option behind Jordan and Pippen, helping them out in their later years. The way to win Jordan's heart is to help contribute to the team collecting more rings, and Kukoc did just that. 2. Never spoke to Dennis Rodman off-court. Dennis Rodman was unlike any other teammate Michael Jordan ever played with. They were complete opposites. Jordan's entire life was about being obsessed with becoming the greatest of all time and winning rings every year. Rodman didn't seem to care much about anything but had overwhelming talent that made a difference. Both stars helped bring the three-peat in the late 90s to the Chicago Bulls. Despite winning 3 titles together, Jordan and Rodman didn't have much of a relationship. Jordan reportedly never spoke to Rodman off the court, and their entire relationship was professionally during games and at practice. Rodman claims he has never once had a conversation with Jordan off the court. Given the clash in personalities, they may have gotten into a fist fight if they tried to socialize in a personal setting. 1. The Scottie Pippen, Tracy McGrady that never was. The Chicago Bulls almost changed the entire landscape of their franchise with a potential massive trade in 1997. Jerry Krause was looking to trade Scottie Pippen to the Toronto Raptors for rookie Tracy McGrady. Chicago viewed McGrady as the next big superstar that could succeed Michael Jordan in the long term and help contribute to wins right away if playing alongside Jordan. However, Jordan showed loyalty to Pippen and demanded the Bulls shut down any trade talks. Jordan held all the power as the biggest name in sports. The power was used here to make sure Pippen was kept in town for one more season with him. Chicago won another NBA championship and fell apart the following year without Jordan and Pippen. As great as McGrady would have been on the Bulls, Chicago getting one more memorable ring was worth listening to Jordan standing up for his teammate. Jeffrey Jordan was born to James and Delores, on February 17, 1963, in Brooklyn, New York. James worked in the electrical and heavy equipment industry, while Delores was a banker. The family, consisting of 4 other children, Larry, James Jr., Roslyn, and Delores, settled down later in Wilmington, North Carolina. Michael went to Wilmington's Emsley A. Laney High School, where he developed a love for sports like basketball, baseball and football. As a child, he was taught by his parents to be hardworking and independent. In school, he wanted to join the sophomore basketball team, but was rejected because he was too short. Instead of being depressed, he joined the school's junior basketball. Jordan, Marcus Jordan, Jasmine McHale Jordan, Victoria Jordan, Isabel Jordan, city, states, provinces and districts. New Yorkers, net worth $1.31 billion as of 2017, popularly known as His Airness, or Air Jordan. Michael Jordan has won the hearts of millions of fans with his famous dunk shot. The basketball legend showed a knack for the game from the time he was in school. Having won several awards in college for his prowess, he decided to compete in the NBA championships at the age of 21. Though not chosen on the best NBA teams, this talented player gave it his all as a member of the Chicago Bulls. This athlete proved to be a match-turner, basketball team. He played exceptionally well, and worked hard to increase his height. Having impressed everyone, he was chosen for the McDonald's All-American team, the best of all high school basketball teams. As a senior in high school, the young boy played for college teams like North Carolina, Virginia, Duke, and Syracuse. Finally, in 1981 he was offered a scholarship by the University of North Carolina, based on his performance in basketball. In college, he graduated in cultural geography. At the university, he was trained by the famous basketball coach Dean Smith, and Jordan was titled Freshman of the Year by the Atlantic Coast Conference. In 1982, his jump shot was a major factor changing the fate of his team with his talent. From a losing team, Chicago Bulls began winning most of their matches, and finally emerged victorious for 6 consecutive championships. This remarkable player is considered a treat to watch, and though he retired on 2 occasions, every time he returned, it was to mesmerize the spectators. From Chicago Bulls, he moved on to the Washington Wizards, first serving as president of operations, and then as a player. After his final retirement, he took over the Charlotte Bobcats as a part owner, with a majority hold and stakes. From then on, he has gone on to be the only billionaire athlete in history. To know more about his life and works, read on Childhood and Early Life, Michael. Michael Jordan. You know these things about him yet. Nickname, Air Jordan, MJ, His Airness, Money, Black Cat. also known as Michael Jeffrey Jordan, famous as basketball player. Nationality: American. Birth date: February 17, 1963. Age: 54 years. Sun sign: Aquarius. Heights: 1.98 m. Born in Brooklyn. Father: James R. Jordan, Sr. Mother: Delores Peoples. Siblings: Rosalind Jordan, James R. Jordan Jr., Larry Jordan, Delores Jordan. Spouses. Partners: Juanita Vinoy, Yvette Prieto. Children: Jeffrey Michael